How's it going, everybody? We're playing some more League of Legends today. We are doing Zack in the jungle. This video is going to be about getting tilted. I do not have like any script writ up. I just remember this game and I remember it's a tilter. It's a big tilter. So that's one of the things that really can get you to lose games that you otherwise might have been able to win. So we're just going to go over this game. We're going to watch it. We're going to point out some plays that were created because of tilt and what a better option would have been. Now, this game is kind of special because I do not I do not think that we could have won it anyway. The Wukong on their team just got really, really big. And basically could just dive under tower and kill Ziggs pretty much any time that he wanted. I don't even think he had to have his ult up. So playing Zack, we start out with the leash from bot lane. We're looking for ganks here and there. At this point in the game, I still think we're cool and collected. That's usually how they start, so you want to pick out what you're doing. Honestly, there's not too many good lanes to gank. Maybe Urgot's is probably the best, just because he has the least counter to what you can do. He can kind of dash away, but he has to go through you, or he can't go through you to do it. So if you can land in his path, it works out pretty good. Wukong can just run away from you, invisible. Later, he can ult you and make it more difficult. Doesn't completely counter you, but it definitely works. And then with Vayne, she can tumble away from you, and then she can condemn you away from her, so it creates an even more massive gap than some other champion that would only just have one gap closer or distance maker. So right now I'm looking at bot lane just because it's the closest and they're pushed in very far. I don't have my E. It's only got 1 point in it, but that's not necessarily like a detriment. You can still do it if you position correctly and if they're pushing up way too far. So I'm going to try to go in here and make something. We landed on Vayne. We got the Q on her because she was already CC'd, and we just started wailing on her. I don't know if I had to flash right here, but I did. So I got the kill on her. Or we got Varus a kill on her. So, like I said, at this point, we're thinking clearly. They were way too far pushed up, so they were vulnerable to a gank. So, not a bad play overall. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to get my Blue Smite because it's the best item on Zack, I think. Just the Red Smite isn't too useful to me, and the slow helps, the damage helps. You know, Zack's kind of, I wouldn't say he's a bursty champion, but he's more bursty than, damage over time. You once you use all of your abilities, all you have is your autos and your W, and it's not very much damage. So we got a gank on bot. This game looks good. We're thinking clearly. We're still thinking. I don't think that Ziggs is doing well at this point. I'm not sure exactly when. I know there's a turning point for Wukong where this game just becomes his. And even before that point, he kind of makes it difficult for Ziggs to farm. Wukong's kind of a really strong champion early just because he has that. I don't know his abilities exactly. He has one that gives him attack speed, and he has got a gap closer so he can jump on Ziggs. So Ziggs is just trying to play safe, which is a smart play, especially when you're against a type of assassin, lane or jungler. It's always better, like, when you're in the lane in the moment, it always feels kind of weird to give up and concede some of the farm. Like, you always want to farm, and it feels weird to just be like, well, I can't get that one, I can't get this one. It feels odd to do that, but it's always better, 100%, to concede mini CS than to give kills. Because that puts you really far behind. Because not only are they doing what they were doing before they got you, you're not there to at least soak experience, so you're getting even more behind. This one wasn't a bad play. Like I said, Urgot is not a bad lane to gank, and like I said, I got in front of him and he basically couldn't get away, but Eve came in and I don't want to say I kind of outplayed that because I had to be very specific. I think as I went in the bush there and my E came up, if I would have just like tapped it just to get a tiny bit of distance away from Eve, I would have lived, because she doesn't have any gap closers, and she's just got her Q skill shot. So little disappointed there. Trying to stay positive, trying to stay like on top of this, what we're gonna do. Wukong is starting to exert dominance on Ziggs, and I'm trying to do something, but he's just so difficult, and he's playing very smart about it. So we're gonna go bot again, I think. Once again, Vayne and Vel'Koz are kind of pushed up, and I have more distance that I can make with my E. When it's early in the game, you can see there that I mentioned before, Vayne can tumble away and then condemn, and it creates a huge gap. And you can see right there, like that's clearly like that's what she did. Like I didn't land it automatically, and she jumped away and then condemned me. And she can condemn you past the point where your Q will stick. So not too great. So we kind of failed gank. We didn't get anything there. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the Krugs, and I think I'm going to turn back and try to do it again. That spot right there, especially early, you can't. It actually like gives him distance to like jump from like a mile away off screen. You can jump past wards usually, and his E usually it gives him that, but not until he gets a few points in it. So kind of early, if you want to gank, which he's not crazy, he fits, but if you want to gank effectively, you have to be smart with how you engage on that. Now, right there, I think this was a smart play. You do not have to use your Q on enemy champions specifically. Like right there, I smacked Vayne into the ward, the control ward that they put down. And I'm just kind of backing off so they think that I'm going to re-engage again. And this is a great play up until this is the point I alluded to earlier, where Wukong just absolutely like a monster outplays us. And this was specifically right here. I don't think I could have done anything about Varus and Sona, but like right here, I don't even know what I was thinking. I should have waited for him to engage so that I could CC him, but basically he just dodges everything that I have, and he almost gets a quadra, but he does not. But this is a turning point. Like he just disgusting. But it was a good play up until that point. I still think it's winnable at this stage of the game. It's just Wukong. Varus is pretty big. Tryndamere is Tryndamere, so it's still possible. And then stuff like this happens where you watch a Wukong just dive indiscriminately. So for our mid laner is probably where the worst of the tilt comes from. Like that, you absolutely debilitating right there is when there are different levels of like being crushed, and there's where you have to play safe and you have to just farm, and then there's spots where you have to back up from the farm because they can run engage on you and kill you, and then you've died again. And then there's points where you literally can't be in their sight, or they run at you and kill you, which is how this game turns out for a lot of our squishies. So I'm trying to get Varus big, because that's one of the few things that we have. Tryndamere, whether he gets fed or not. Oh, excuse me. Whether he gets fed or not, I don't think it even matters. Tryndamere is Tryndamere. Like, he can just split push until his brain explodes, and doesn't matter what happens. He just split pushes, and they have to deal with him. So I'm trying to get Varus fed. I'm trying to look for a lane gank, which is one of Zach's better qualities. And they get a kill anyway. One of Zach's better qualities is you can lane gank from that bush. Wukong just dove and killed him again. You hate to see it. And he's coming down, too. Like, I'm trying to communicate and we can get something on here. Because he's kind of low. I think he still could kill them if they didn't notice he was coming. So land on him. I'm trying to stop him from like obliterating Sona because he almost does. And thankfully we do get a kill on him. I'm wanting to get this Infernal Drake. Now, I didn't realize how much stress I put on objectives, the Drakes in the game, but making this series, I've noticed that almost every game that I posted, I'm like pinging the Drake at some point or another early in the game because you need to get them. There's a downside to where it's inefficient for you as an individual to get the Drake because you stop farming and you stop like making plays, but very useful if you can get the good ones like Infernal Drake. This is the beginning of the tilt. I do not think that I had to use stopwatch, and that's a huge wasted like resource that I have. And then I don't like, so right there I queued, and I think if I would have just E'd immediately over the wall, would have lived. And you hate to see it, but we got the Infernal, so it's still something you can bring away. Really, it's just the Wukong, and we're letting Vayne get a little bit too fed, but you have to continue to remain optimistic, even like robotically like cold and robotically like decision making. Oh my gosh. But my mid laner is just like just full on like screw you, buddy, because there's nothing he can do. Like I think there are things that you can do to like increase your efficiency of that fight and like what you're going to do with it, and like, but at some point later you can see like him trying to like go up to farm and just gets obliterated by even Wukong, and I'm like right there. So you have to remain calm, because even if you get like feed off your butt, there's still a possibility that your team could like drag your sorry ass to a W, you know. So you kind of have to take what your champion is useful for, and then strip it down, because you're literally feeding, and strip it down to what can I be useful for. And sometimes the answer is just like, don't die and give gold away. That's the most frustrating game to play, is when you're that guy. But yeah, so sometimes you just don't die, and you slowly and surely like scrape out to where you're a little like you could do something. So this is one of those lane ganks I was talking about, and it's not a bad gank. I jumped there because I thought that she was gonna not tumble forward like she did, so I would have landed on her or like behind her, so she would have only had to, her choice were to tumble into me or to the side, and my plan was to just scoop her up with ultimate, and it worked out really well. Zach can do that kind of stuff. I have some other Zach games, and I do that kind of stuff all the time. It's really enjoyable to scoop up their entire team and to just pull them out from tower. It's fun. So do we get the first tower? I believe we do, yes. So that, like, see, as far as the Ziggs is going, you know, what he could have done is try to make more plays, try to like force a play to where he could come out on top, which he is already at a disadvantage, and he didn't. So that's a smart play, and that's what you want to try, is just to win in your immediate like situation. And he just dies right here. But what could have happened is he could have died so much that Wukong got the first tower instead of Varus, which would have been awful. But that was what I was talking about, is like he was stepping up to get some farm, and literally like Wukong came out of vision. Like he didn't even see Wukong. Wukong came out of vision, and then Eve was behind, I think. So he had to walk forward, and then he just... Oh, excuse me, I got a cough. Like when I'm playing games, and I died just there for a stupid play, honestly, like that was stupid of me. Because Ziggs was dead at that point. There was nothing I could have done. I think what I was thinking is I was gonna kill Vel'Koz because he's the support. And it didn't work out, and I just got myself killed. And you kind of get really tilted off your own plays, and like you kind of treat this like an individual game, and you want to win, but sometimes you just have to let yourself get carried like trash. And I've noticed in my own games that if I try to make the efficient like plays, like if I'm not doing great, I'll use my own death as trading it for something that I can give to someone else, such as getting like bot lane double kill, or getting the tower first, or something like that. And you kind of have to play around that. But it's very difficult if there's not somebody that can carry it. And especially like for this team, Ziggs can be super useful, even though he's getting like obliterated, and I can be super useful even though I'm getting obliterated. And Varus can be super useful, but in this situation, it's going to be very, very difficult because they have because they've got Wukong who's fed. He can literally just run past like the front line, jump on somebody, and just obliterate them while his team comes in and just does magic. So really not good. Like that. Like, so at this point, I want to act as like Peel, but you saw him there. He just ran at her, and I even saw him. Like, I saw him right here. Like, you can see him, and he stops moving. I know he's moving this way, and he literally walks into Sona, presses, like, right clicks her, autos her as he comes out, and then he presses R, and it kills her. I'm trying to recognize my own worth in this game as being like Peel, because I have to keep Wukong off of the squishies, which are Varus and Ziggs. But some games are really difficult in that regard, to where you can't. It comes down to them making a huge mistake and giving you the game. And I don't know if that's intentional. Oh gosh. Oh no. Even me, the tank. See, like, this is good, because Varus is just, he's big enough to handle him, but he has to be very careful, because once Wukong's like abilities come back off the cooldown, he could come out of stealth, like, surprise him and kill him. But I'm trying to recognize what the win condition is, and I still think it's Varus and Ziggs. Ziggs can be useful. I can be useful as the Peel. Ziggs can be useful, and if we could ever get him like in a good split push, he can take down towers very fast. But he never does get this chance, and so Varus is the only thing, is we have to depend on Wukong making a mistake and jumping in, and Varus just obliterating his face, which is, oh gosh, so. So, tilting. Sometimes you just gotta. It helps to reduce it in a game, tilting in a game, so that you can wait for like the late. Oh man, I just got outplayed so bad. So try to reduce it so you can wait for the late game, and make something happen late, like Trendemir's stupid annoying as a champion because of this. And that was crazy. Like, I wish I could see Trendemir's KDA versus Wukong's, because it's ridiculously disparaging how different they are. But what I was saying, sometimes you have to wait for late game to like hold on to your frustration and just wait for your moment, to where you can objectively decide that like this is the moment that I can make a difference in the game, and then take it. But then sometimes there is no moment in the game, and you just have to let it go and recognize that getting frustrated with the game is not going to help you, and you just have to wait and put all those like frustrating feelings like somebody raging at you or you raging at yourself, and put them all behind and just wait for the next game. And I think that's something that I can show in this series, because this game, the one before it and the one after it, we played them back to back, so kind of like you kind of see how you play like through series of games. And I think the first one with Warwick, after got to Silver 2, was pretty good. And then this one was just absolutely not very good at all, compared to like my performance with Zach before, because I was like, okay, so mid lane was my duo partner was like tilting really bad, and I give him that because that's so frustrating when you physically cannot do anything without like he can't even stand under tower because Wukong can just kill him anyways. And I was getting frustrated because I was trying to like help and like not carry the game but facilitate the game in a way that we could win, and it was just frustrating. It's so frustrating, especially like there was a play earlier where I honestly could have killed Vayne while she was trying to take bot tower, but I misplayed so bad, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so frustrated. I suck at this game. So we did bad, and at the beginning of the third game, after Silver 2, it's the next one in this line, I gave myself a pep talk. I thought about, like, what could we have done, like, thought about it in terms of that instead of, like, I'm just bad and they're just better than me and all that kind of stuff. Because even if they are better, it's a team game, so, like, any weakness anywhere can really get you, like, facilitated in a win. And I think this could have been winnable, like, with Tryndamere if we had got the right engage, and we just we always had to be respectful of Wukong, and we weren't, honestly. And I think Wukong we should have been respectful from the beginning after he got that triple kill. And Eve I wasn't so worried about, but she turned into Eve late game, and she didn't do too bad, but she got big enough to where she could be a threat, counter, like comboed with Wukong. So yeah, you just have to suffer through these games like this and try to take things away for, like I said, either the later game, maybe like how they're playing, like an individual player is playing, like we know Wukong is being aggressive, so we can kind of try to take advantage of that and set up to where he'll try to dive somebody he thinks is alone is not really. Try to take things away for a shorter term like that, to where we can maybe win this game. Or you try to take things away for future games. So like me and Ziggs were talking, and I think he had a first pick, and I was trying to positively like take something away. And unless you're really positive of how the game is going to go, if you pick like Ziggs into like an assassin like Wukong or an Eve for that matter, or you pick Zach. I don't think Zach was the right choice here. I think I was just like high off of doing good with Zach. I wanted to play Zach, and I picked him because I thought I could overcome these disadvantages that I had as far as like Vayne being able to basically break ganks before they happen because she can get away from me so easily, and maybe Urgot like sniping me at, like, if I make a sick play and get away with a little bit of health, but then he can ult me and get away. It just try to pull stuff away from a losing game. Try to like think about it objectively. A game is never lost because they're just better. Because you have like upheavals like this in the pro leagues where you come into these games where you think this team is going to win because they're just better. They've got more wins and stuff like that. But it's all about the individual plays and like being efficient and like taking little pieces and little mistakes and all that kind of stuff, and transitioning it into a win. It's just, I've said it a lot, like doing this channel, like it's all about the tiny little things that can bring a win, being efficient. And as a jungler, you see it a lot because you have to like plan your path and like ganks and You want to help losing lanes, but it's always better to be efficient and not waste energy and time into doing that. And then it helps with the game at large. And I think that's why I enjoy jungle so much, because it helps with learning stuff like that. So, but we are just. Oof. And it's always easier to not tilt when you're on the crushing side. Like, do you think that Wukong is tilting or Eve is tilting because she got killed one time? Like, they have a lot more things that they can take to themselves, be like, oh, I'm so good, so they don't tilt. And, you know, so it's a killer. This is disgusting right here. Thank gosh for Trinomir. Now, I'm not sure if I said this about Eve, but I think one of the reasons that I picked Zac in this game is because of Eve. I was looking maybe to invade on her when she's low, because she gets kind of low in that first clear. And as far as running into her in the jungle, I'm not really scared of her, because she still isn't big enough to one-shot me. And when she puts that thing on, it's like a big get out of there. But it's just. So, late in this game, Wukong can literally one-shot anyone, even me, I think. And I'm very worried about Varus being, like, that far up. If Wukong showed up, he was just dead. And I was trying to get something going here, but I didn't notice Varus was, like, full back. And that's one of those, like, tilting plays. And I think it was just a cascade, honestly, right here, where I just made a decision that I have to make this big play. And if Varus does damage, we can get in. If Wukong was there, he would have shown up. Like, I did this, and I got myself killed, and then Varus tried to, salvage what he could from it, and he got killed, and then Sona was there too, and she got killed, and it just cascaded into, from like one bad decision. And if I hadn't right there, if we even go back, so like right here is where it was. If I hadn't jumped in there, we may have been able to group as a team. There was 4 of us there, and pull back and not just die. We didn't even have a full team fight there. That was just incredible. This may have been the game, the play that lost the game. And you see me there, like, trolling him. That was incredibly my fault, and it was just, like, frustrating, and I was tilted, and that may have lost us the game. So, yeah, and he was, like, 4 flashes away from me, so. Miscommunication, I was very frustrated, and just making bad plays. So, I think this is the first loss in the game, or in the series of Road to Gold. So, you don't usually want to show these, or at least myself, because you want to, like, be a god, or at least portray it as being god. But it's kind of like showing you, like, what's going on with the game. You don't want to just, like, throw away your losses as being, like, a mistake or not your fault or something like that. Like, there's always something you can pick up from it and learn. So, yeah, but that's game. And don't tilt. And that's the video.